call this organizational meeting of the James City Service Authority Board of Directors to order. Good afternoon, Mr. Powell.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, and thank you for braving the elements to come out today. If you'll please call the roll.
Ms. Sadler.
Here.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Here.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Here.
Mr. Hippel.
Here.
Ms. Larson.
Here. I would call for a motion to appoint the chair for the upcoming year. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Mr. Powell, if you'll call the, well, I guess we'll need the motion first. Is there?
Right.
Yeah.
Who's the chair?
Is there, yeah.
Chair.
Is there a nomination for the chair of the JCSA?
Well, I would like to nominate you again, if you'd be willing to serve as chair.
Thank you so much. Are there any other nominations?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Powell, you call the roll.
Ms. Sadler.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Mr. Hippel.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye. Thank you all. I would like to call for a motion to appoint a vice chair for the upcoming year. Is there a motion?
Motion. And I'll appoint, I would like, are we
Go ahead. You
making
take
a
the nominee.
nomination?
Yep.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Hippel. He expressed interest for vice chair.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, Mr. Powell, could you call the roll?
Ms. Sadler.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Mr. Hippel.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye. Thank you. We need a motion to adopt the organizational meeting resolution setting the meeting times and the associated calendar. Are there any changes to the calendar of meeting times in the motion?
I guess this would be a good point at which we could discuss something that also affects the Board of Supervisors, and that's the question about the organizational meeting for next year. And I just wanted to say that while I don't really have any strong objection to the move to the first regular meeting of the year, I do think there are some things for us to think about, including the notion that there may be changes in membership that occur in a given year that would, in fact, impact the full membership of the board, including the leadership, whether it's in terms of decisions not to seek election again or defeat in an election and so forth. Just being able to put in place a leadership team at an earlier point may make some difference. And the other part of it is that if there are important issues to be considered, it would probably help for the new leader of the service authority and the board to have an opportunity to be prepared for that kind of management of the meeting where that would happen, rather than just hoping that we could get that organizational work done in the hour before a regular meeting, which, as we can see from this year, is going to be a fairly active one where there will be a lot of consideration and a lot of public interest. So I would just ask that we think about whether that makes sense for us to do. I suppose that there's also the possibility that we could amend the calendar at a later date if it does appear to us earlier on that there might be an issue or a problem. I think that would be correct. Is that right, Mr. Kinsman?
So you want to?
But I would ask whether the board would want to consider remaining with our current calendar, which would include an organizational meeting early on. I think next year that would mean that we would have this meeting the same day, but on a different, or same date, but on a different day, because of the way the holidays fall next year. It would be Tuesday, the 3rd of January.
I like the fact that, we could, combine the two meetings, because a lot of people, we don't travel because we know we got a meeting coming up.
Right.
So it limits your amount of travel you can do at the first year and getting back in time. If you go out of town, make sure you're back in time to get to that first Monday of the calendar year. But unless it, like next year, hits the first calendar year, it's on a Tuesday. Mm-hmm. But thinking that if we did it on our first regular meeting, we could then, even if it's an hour or 2 hours prior to that meeting, we could have that meeting, get all that taken care of, and then have our regular meeting and save, some time going back and forth in multiple meetings. I brought it up and basically just to kind of alleviate some of the meetings. And I see your point of, but I think if usually we, have talked and kind of have a basic idea. I know some boards haven't in the past, but we kind of have a basic idea of, okay, this is what's going to shake down and going to happen. And maybe we're just a lucky board that is able to work together. So, other boards may not be as lucky, but I mean, they could always, I think, adjust the schedule if they see fit. But I would be inclined to go with the January 10th.
Well, yeah, I think the current board would have to make that decision for the incoming board if we were going to
Right.
change that date of the organizational meeting. But yeah, I think that
Should we keep it at the, I don't, so for me, I'm not married to either one of them. I agree. I think it's really tough sometimes this Monday. It does limit you on, if we were gonna do anything, my preference would be to keep it on a Tuesday.
Yes, it
just
always
because-
snows on our Monday organization.
It does,
day.
but I also see what you're saying, but should we keep it with the 10th and then see, though, as we're going further down in the year, if we think there's gonna be an issue, we can amend and go back to the first Tuesday? Or what, you
Yeah.
know what I mean,
yeah,
the third?
yeah, I think that's fine with me, just with an understanding that we can
Yes.
revisit this issue if it looks like there's going to
Absolutely.
be any reason to be concerned about it.
JCSA is on board with that suggestion, yes.
Okay.
All right. All right, so with that, was there a motion to adopt the calendar?
Motion to adopt calendar?
Thank you. Mr. Powell?
Ms. Sadler?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye. We have nothing on our consent calendar, no public hearings, no board considerations. Any board requests and directives?
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
With that, we'll adjourn until 5 p.m. on January 11th, 2022 for the regular meeting, if there's a motion.
Motion.
Thank you. Mr. Powell, if you'll call the roll.
Ms. Sadler?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
And January 3rd, 2022 at 1:06 PM. Roll call, Mr. Stevens, sir, please.
Sir, Ms. Sadler?
Here.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Here.
Ms. Larson?
Here.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Here.
Mr. Hippel?
Here.
Motion carries.
All right, first on our list is appoint a chair for this upcoming year. So do I have a motion on the floor for a chair? Yes, ma'am.
And yes, I'd like to nominate Supervisor McGlinnan for chair.
All right, any others? Okay, roll call, sir.
Thank you very much, Mike. Let me just very quickly say thank you very much to my colleagues for electing me to the chair for this year. I appreciate it very much, and I hope to be able to maintain the same kind of collegiality that we've experienced over the last several years, and hope that we can have a very productive year. I want to thank Mr. Hippel for his service the last year, and say that we look forward to drawing on the talents of everybody on this board, and we'll have some more opportunities to discuss board priorities and direction at our next meeting as we watch the snow come down outside the window.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hippel.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let me call for nominations for vice chair. Okay. All right, Mr. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Ms. Sadler?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. We have no board considerations today, but we do have the appointment of supervisors to regional boards and commissions and seating assignments. So we'll begin with the determination of supervisor seats.
Mr. McGlinnan?
We go in closed session, I think.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Oh, I'm sorry. Right. It'll take me a while to get back on.
Hey, it was on time.
Yeah. We have a resolution for the operation of the board's meetings. Any discussion of our rules of operation for the coming year? These are pretty much the same rules we've operated under for the last several years. It worked well for us. So,
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Now, ready for board appointments to regional boards and commissions. Okay. Sorry? I think the calendar.
Calendar was part of the rest.
We did that.
Yep. So we now have the issue of appointments to boards and commissions, and this is indicated for an open session.
Oh, okay. I thought we had gone and closed in the past. Am I dreaming?
If you
Okay.
would, if you'd like to move to go into closed session, these are personnel matters, and so we would be able to do that.
Sure.
Pursuant of section.
Thank you.
Okay.
Keep this legal.
All right. Mr. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Sadler?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Go into closed session. All right. back into order and.
I certify that we only spoke about those members those matters that we said that we would in
Motion.
closed session.
Ms. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Ms. Sadler?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye. Okay. We have a series of appointments to boards and commissions for members of the Board of Supervisors. And I'll call on Mr. Stevens, if you wouldn't mind indicating those.
Yes, sir. Mr. McGlinnan, for your Community Action Agency Board of Directors, you were going to leave Charlotte West. For Hampton Roads Military and Federal Facilities, along an alternate. For Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization, Mr. McGlinnan with Mr. Hippel as an alternate. For Hampton Roads Transportation Accountability Commission, Mr. Hippel with our alternate being Chairman McGlinnan. Our school liaison would be Ms. Larson, Chairman McGlinnan. Our Agricultural and Forest District Advisory Committee would be Ms. Sadler. Economic Development Authority Liaison, Ms. Sadler. Williamsburg Tourism Council, Ms. Larson. Community Services Coalition Board of Directors, Barb Watson would continue to serve as your representative. Chair McGlinnan. Greater Williamsburg Business Council, Mr. Eisenhower. High Growth Coalition, Chairman McGlinnan. And Williamsburg Area Medical Assistance Corp., Ms. Larson.
One friendly amendment, just to correct the name on the Greater Peninsula Workforce Board to Hampton Roads Workforce Board. And so do we have a motion to approve that
So
list?
moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Ms. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Sadler?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. We also have appointments to two positions on the Planning Commission. So for the Powhatan District, Mr. Hippel?
Yes. Rich Croft has agreed to serve again, and I'd love to keep him on that position for the upcoming next 4 years.
Okay, so we have a motion to reappoint Rich Croft. Mr. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Sadler?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And Mr. Eisenhower? do you have a
I'd like
nomination?
to appoint Frank Polster for the Jamestown seat on the Planning Commission for another term. And
Okay, and we have a motion. Mr. Stevens, please call the roll.
Sir, Ms. Sadler?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, and we have a couple of other positions which we will fill at our next meeting. Okay, that brings us to board requests and directives.
Seating assignments.
Seating.
Seating assignments.
Oh, I'm sorry, seating assignments, right, of course. I know where I sit. So.
Now, before we get to seating assignments, I was thinking one thing, and y'all may agree or disagree, but that's okay. As far as the public goes, you know, the chair sits here. It'd be nice to have the chair, the vice chair, and then the three of us pick our seats. And in that way, your vice chair is way over there. And it kind of, to me, as audience, it's
I'm
kind
fine.
of confusing.
I am
But I
not
was
picky
wondering
about chairs.
if anybody would mind having chair, and that way, if you have any questions, you can, you know, the chair and vice chair can say, hey, this is coming up, that's coming up, you know.
fine with me.
It's a thought.
It's fine with me. I don't care.
And then the three of the left, the rest
Us
of us,
Sunderlands?
the leftovers would have
Yeah,
to number.
okay.
That means I could sit there and get out of the drafty air,
That's-
maybe a
that
little
means-
I'll sit
warmer.
down on the draft here.
So you, me, and Jim
freezing.
need to,
Would pick.
oh, that's
we
fine.
we only need to pick
3, 4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5, or is that what
Yep.
it is?
So numbers 3, 4, and 5 would all be left in the bowl.
Well, they're not, but we'll know what it is because I won't give one out. Is that all right?
Okay.
It'll be an extra.
I know.
Perfect
What do you
position.
got?
I'm 4.
I got 2.
You got 2?
Yeah.
So
You get to
you're
go down to the
five.
end. You're 5.
You're fine.
Going out yonder.
Yeah, you're on the far end.
So let
Linda, so-
me review the bidding now. It's going to be.
So I think actually Ruth is going to move one seat. Is that right?
Will you,
No, because he's 4.
But he's 2.
Oh, Lord.
she's,
But
Oh,
wouldn't
that's
you
right.
just swap 2 for 5?
That's what I
Five's
thought.
here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he could just pretend he's 5.
Oh, okay.
And
Yep.
got it. Okay.
So I'm down here.
So you're
Yeah,
down here.
and I'm in your old seat.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Woo! Hot,
That's easy enough.
big happenings.
Okay. Now we're to board directors and requests. Anybody? We'll hold that for next
Happy
time.
New Year. It's
Snow,
snowing.
let's go.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Does
Does anyone have a shovel?
You want to bring to our attention?
Just be safe in the snow and ice today.
Okay. Have a motion to adjourn
Motion for adjournment
Motion.
to 5 PM. I'm
on
sorry.
January 11th, 2022 for a regular meeting.
Okay. Ms. Stevens, just call the roll, please.